Hey there, all. Cashmagnet Guru coming at you today. One of the subscribers asked me to go over my shelving and how I have it set up. So I'm going to go through that. So I got all my shelving except for one shelf off of eBay. And I actually had a shelf. I have 4 shelves total. And the 4th one I actually had shipped free from a company. And I was going to fully buy everything from that company until they were going to charge me $350 for shipping. And that ended that. So here it is. What I have here in the back, that is a grid wall panel. And as you see right here, I just have it drilled into the stud. Now, I don't have the others in there, the other screws in there, because I really didn't need them. So as you see, I have 16 phones per shelf here. But what I can do, and I'll show you here on the bottom shelf, is you have plenty of room to put other phones. Now these are my Honeygain phones, and Honeygain causes network issues for me. So I generally don't have them running. As you can see, my cord management, really isn't that great. But you know what? I don't really... It works for me. Actually, you'll see how messy it is down here. Now, I don't really have a big issue with this. I really don't. And it's all coming out of my UB. And yeah, that's probably messy there. And I could probably do something with that. But the thing is, when you bundle all your cords together and you have a cord die, then you have a kind of a mess on your hands trying to dig that cord out. So, for me, and I lose cords. Most of these cords have been running since March or December. So the last thing I want to do is have to unsplice a whole bunch of cords. So realistically, how many phones could you get on one of these shelves? You could get 24. So you could put 48 phones just right on one of these shelves. And these are basically your basic phones. I mean, these are all Aristo 2s. Or 212s. The phones in the front here, those are all, well, for the most part, those are all Rebel 1s. I believe those are Majesty Pros right there. Okay, and here's the other half of my shelving. Now, this top shelf, this is my freebie, and I really don't like it. It's just too big. It's too wide. Or the depth is too much on it. I don't like it. Because of having to take phones out, you don't want to just set a phone like that on top of at the top of the other one. You don't want that. Because you're going to have to take that phone out, and it's going to just make a mess. One thing I do like about it is I can set my UB on top of it. It's just not very space efficient. It really isn't. As you see here, I got, again, the the brackets into the wall. Oof, boy, that didn't like that, did it? Sorry about the blurriness there. But I have 4 of those per the wall mount, the grid wall. And again, here's the others, the last shelf. And as you can see, I have phones off again, and those are Honeygains, and I really need to do some work with that. There's my perk phones. Got one that's dead, and one that's not logged in. But you know, you see my wire management. You know, it's not the best. But I'll tell you, when you're kind of dealing with these, you know, cheap wires, and you know, I could probably make this better. I could. But you know, it's not a big deal. The biggest thing with me is I want access to the wires in case one fails. And for the most part, I have that. One thing I do want with the shelf is at some point I will get another shelf and replace this one. And then the funny thing is these shelves are too low. They need to go up. So I can just sit in my chair, which actually sits right where I'm filming this from. And so I could just sit in my chair and do it. Well, the other one's too high. So I actually need to lower that down at some point. But I got to figure out something to do with the UB towers on either of them. Now, one thing you might notice, and I have a little bit of this, like this cord. This is one of the braided cords. I bought a whole bunch of. You can see them down here too. Oops, if that's gonna. Sorry for the blurriness. Wow, spend all this money on a new phone and get blurry. You'll see that I have some long cords there. Now I bought a whole bunch of. Wow, that's just not liking that. Of 5 or 6 foot cables, chargers, because I didn't know what I was going to end up with. So I still have a bunch left over because I didn't use them. Now they're definitely backups. They're definitely for when I go to change this all around at some point, which is going to happen. In the next part of the video, I'll go over what I actually spent and on this whole setup. Now, one thing I need to tell you is why did I do this? Well, 2 reasons. If y'all remember, I was using my old kitchen table and I was using a piece of plywood sitting on a pair of sawhorses. That's what my farm was sitting on, was those 2. Now, I wanted, the space didn't bother me because it was in a spare room that I don't use for anything. But I wanted it to be all in my office and to be vertical. The other big thing I ran into this summer was dealing with phone with battery bloat. And because I had them just sitting flat and not getting airflow, I got a lot of battery bloat. So these were actually absolutely perfect. It accomplished basically 3 goals. I got them vertical. I got airflow. And it didn't cost me an arm and a leg. You know, those are such the important things. It really is. So on to the next part where we will go over the cost. Okay, so here is the stuff that makes up my shelving
These were actually very heavy duty, and I'm very impressed with them for the price. A carton does come with a dozen. You can get them in stainless steel, I believe. I only have 8 of them in use, as I do plan on probably putting up some shelves in my laundry room with my extra stuff. Now, I can't tell you how much I love these shelves. These shelves were exactly perfect for what I wanted to use them for. They're deep enough where I could put a front row of phones laying down. The back is deep enough where I can have the phones sitting at an angle, and the wires coming out of the bottom prevent it from sliding further past that center divider. That center divider is on top. So, I mean, these were absolutely perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Couldn't be happier with them. The grid panels, they come in a carton of 3. I'm only using 2 of them. As opposed to the picture, you all saw that I have them flipped on their side, and they are 4 feet wide. To go along with the shelving that is 48 inches. So they fit perfectly. No complaints. These are heavy duty as well. Everything that I bought, I was really surprised with the fantastic quality of them. Here are some of the charging cables I bought. Now, I absolutely do not buy cheap charging cables off of eBay anymore. I made that mistake once. I won't make it again. I lost about half the charging cables that I bought. I think I paid under $1 a piece off of eBay, and lost half of them the first month. Not going to do that again. Don't skimp. Don't step over dollars to get pennies. These are 6 feet long. There's 10 in a pack. $1.70 each. The braided I don't really care about, but they work. They work very well. Now, I do have like 50 of these, but I probably have less than 10 on my farm. I didn't know what was going to happen once I put the shelves up, what I was going to need, where I was going to be able to put my UBs. So I'd rather have too many than not enough. So as you see here, this is what I've spent. So I spent $17 for those brackets, and I still have 4 left over. Impressed with the quality, absolutely. I bought 3 of these shelves at $22.50 each. So that's $67.50. Add that on to the 17. That's $84.50. And then we'll get to the grid panels here. And that's another $38. So I'm sitting at $122.50 just for the shelving. And then, that's up to you guys on the cords. But even with just the small amount I have on, I'm looking at under 150 for my total setup, which I can't complain one bit about. Well, thanks all. Hopefully this helps you out on setting up your phones and going vertical like I did. Saves on the battery bloat, saves on space. All right, all. This has been Cashmagnet Guru. Be sure to like the video, be sure to subscribe, and be sure to ring that bell to get notified when I go live or put up new content. All right. Laters.